I didn't intend to do another House of the Dragon video until after Sunday's episode 2 came out, but Hollywood being Hollywood, they just couldn't help themselves. On Tuesday, an article appeared on Insider by Kim Renfro, which came out of a roundtable interview with the two actresses who play Rhaenyra Targaryen and Alicent Hightower. I saw it on a video by Jane Theory, and I thought I would add my 2 cents. Millie Alcock, who plays Princess Rhaenyra, joked about the relationship between the two characters. Emily Carey, who plays Alicent Hightower, mentioned her own sexuality in real life as something she decided to read into the part after discussing it with Claire Kilner, one of the directors of the show. Now, in the book the show is based on, Fire and Ice, Rhaenyra is about 11, and Alicent is 9 years older, making the whole idea more than a little creepy and groomery. Not that that is anything new for Hollywood these days, given all the skeletons that have come out of their collective closets in the past decade. However, being current year Hollywood, they have changed the girls' ages to be the same at 14 years old. Still creepy, but that knocks out most of the groomery tinge to the whole thing. Most times I would shrug and mutter, Hollywood being Hollywood, and move on. But as my episode 1 review said, I kinda liked the first episode with the caveat that it could go down in flames if they could not keep the real-world politics out of the story. And so here we are, not even a week later, and, as with many projects Hollywood churns out of late, the people involved with said projects can't help but insert themselves and their real-world agendas into what should be a fantasy setting, where many of those agendas simply don't fit the time, the people, or the events that are going on in the story. I find it sad that Hollywood can't seem to leave kids alone to be kids. There seems to be an inability in writers to simply write friendships without it getting sexual, and actors to act such friendships without wanting to insert their own ideologies into things. The cursory internet search I did to come up with the ages of the two characters also hinted exactly where their relationships in the book winds up, and it is far from conducive to include a lesbian romance between Rhaenyra and Alicent. So, are they going to deviate even further from the source material? If so, is this something George R.R. Martin is involved in? I ask because this is starting to smell an awful lot like people taking liberties with something they had no part in writing. And if you need any indication how well that is probably going to go down, go rewatch Season 8 of Game of Thrones, or any trailer, interview, or promotional video the clowns at Amazon have put out for Rings of Power, a show that was greenlit with the approval of Christopher Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien's very protective son, but seemed to have undergone massive changes after Christopher died. Changes to the point that they fired Tom Shippey, the Tolkien scholar they were using before Christopher's death, and who was very loyal to the author himself. All that to say, it has begun. The people involved with House of the Dragon have begun to pull off their masks to reveal the activists beneath, something they managed to mostly avoid in the lead-up to the premiere of the show, unlike the geniuses running and involved with the Rings of Power. Will it affect the show? Who knows? But this is never a good sign where Hollywood is concerned these days, especially given that many shows these days, especially on streaming, show their best face to the fans in the first episode or two before turning into Mr. Hyde by the end of the first season. Given the axe-wielding new boss at Warner Brothers, you would think HBO would have this, their biggest project at the moment, on lockdown, and only allow them to pimp the show the way the studio wants. Then again, maybe this is what they want. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like what I do here, like, subscribe, comment, and share this video to help me out with the algorithm. My links for social media and Patreon are in the description, as well as the link to Jane Theory and the article. I'll be back soon with another video.